Today I'm going to answer all your questions. Insert, hello Marcus, I would like to play on Shakuhachi too, but I'm on a budget. Is there any cheap shakuhachi that you can recommend me as a shakuhachi player? Love your tutorials, by the way. Thanks for the praise. I made a few videos on suitable shakuhachi for beginners, which you can find in the Shakuhachi Introduction Series, and my standard recommendation is the Shakuhachi U, which is made from a resin instead of bamboo, so it's quite a lot cheaper than an actual bamboo shakuhachi. There are other options as well. You can get a Shakuhachi Hoshi Arashi, for example, or a Shakuhachi bell, which are also nice instruments. The Shakuhachi bell is a very nice flute. It's a bit more expensive, so that's why I'm usually going for the Shakuhachi U, but all three are really good options. You can also get a simple PVC shakuhachi, which is even cheaper. And if you want to know all the details, please see my other videos. Stephanie Arts. Thank you. My husband gifted me today with the instrument I used to play silver traverse flute. Where do you put the lips? I can't get one sound. Thanks again. Well, getting a sound is the first obstacle when learning shakuhachi, and you blow into this end. Basically what you have to do is that you split the airstream here at the utaguchi, like so. How to do this in more detail, again, there is a video in my Shakuhachi Introduction Series. Please refer to that. King Mag 42. I was inspired by Ghost of Tsushima and bought my first shakuhachi 2 days ago. I'm very excited for this journey and thank you for taking the time to make these videos. I learned very much from you. 90% plus of what you said was brand new information for me. Thanks, I'm very glad you liked the videos. I've heard quite a few people coming from the Ghost of Tsushima to shakuhachi, which is a new route to shakuhachi, to be honest. I think it's the first video game where people actually start getting interested in shakuhachi. For my personal taste, Ghost of Tsushima is much too violent. I watched a few videos online, but it's great if you come to play shakuhachi via this game. Whiskey Jack Attack 88. A great introduction to the shakuhachi. What would you is your favorite of the honkyoku? Thanks again. My favorite honkyoku is the one that I'm currently playing or currently practicing. It takes a while to get into honkyoku. At first they may sound quite alike because we're just not used to this type of music. But once you get into it, you start noticing quite a different feel about the pieces and that these pieces are actually quite deep. For the honkyoku, in my view, it's more like a layered approach. So you play one honkyoku and you manage to play it up to a certain degree. And then you move on to the next piece and you learn to play this to a certain degree. And then you learn the next piece and learn to play it to a certain degree. But then you go back to your first honkyoku and instead of playing it at this level, you're playing it at this level. And every time you do the next iteration, you get deeper and deeper into the music. And even after playing Honshirabe, the first honkyoku that you usually play for about 10 years, and I play it almost every day, I always discover new nuances and new ways of playing the same piece, and it doesn't get boring. For most of the melodies, for most of music, if you've heard it 20 times, 50 times, 100 times, you know the piece and a certain boredom sets in. For the honkyoku pieces, for me, this is not the case. So that's my long-winded answer to what's my favorite honkyoku. All of them. This Tim. I did it. I made a tone. Thank you. Could you make a video how to properly care for shakuhachi? Do you clean it somehow after every use? And have you had to control for humidity or dryness before, like when traveling? I might have to do that at the end of the year. It's worth noting the shakuhachi I just purchased is one-piece solid bamboo. It's a 1.6 in key F, so it's small enough to fit for travel purposes. Great, you made a tone. That's the most important step for starting on your shakuhachi journey. About shakuhachi care, I made a video on that as well, which you can find in the Shakuhachi Introduction Series. The main issue about shakuhachi is that you have to take care about the utaguchi, which is a bit fragile, so take care not to damage this. The second is that the fibers of the shakuhachi, this is a natural material, and they have a tendency to crack. So this happens when the instrument dries out. A standard way is to put your shakuhachi into a plastic bag so there is less difference in humidity levels, which is the main reason for shakuhachi cracking. There is much more detail in the video, but these are the two main things you have to take care of. Bethany Freeman. Is there a book that you know of that I could do more research on the traditional Japanese music notation? A book that actually teaches you how to read it along with the different scales and symbols? Great question. There are quite a few books on shakuhachi, as you can see. In Japanese, of course, there are even more. These are mostly English ones that I have, and they all do a fine job of explaining the basis of notation. And also for that, I made a video by now, so you can find that in the Shakuhachi Introduction Series. And there are also plans to make videos on shakuhachi introduction books, but I've not done that yet, so watch out on this channel if you're interested in that. But the main point is, don't get too hung up on the notation. Shakuhachi notation is just a memory aid. It doesn't have the same value as Western notation, where the score in itself is something that represents the music. For shakuhachi notation is really just a memory aid, so how you write it down doesn't really matter. Frank SQ. Thank you, fellow synthesis lover. Your videos are very clear and friendly. Would you say a shakuhachi from Thomann is a good instrument for a beginner? They're under 200 euros. Maybe you have some independent shakuhachi makers to recommend. Maybe the flutes have more character. I'm in Europe. Thanks a lot. It's great to have another fellow synthesist on the channel, so thanks for watching the videos. I like the Thomann shop a lot. I'm not sponsored, of course, but overall I think it's a very good retailer for everything related to music. However, for the shakuhachi that they have on offer, these are actually not shakuhachi, so be careful that not everything that you see on the internet, just not on the Thomann shop, but also on eBay, for example. People often write shakuhachi, but it's actually not a shakuhachi. Very often what is called a shakuhachi are actually Chinese flutes, which are similar in construction but are not shakuhachi. So please take care when looking at these instruments. Dylan Snyder. I tried to order the belt shakuhachi, but unfortunately the waiting list is about a year, so that option isn't viable for me. I think the Shakuhachi U is my choice. The Shakuhachi U is always a good choice for a beginner's instrument. The belt shakuhachi doesn't have a waiting list that is quite so long anymore. John Kipris is hard at work, working through the waiting list, and by now you have quite a good chance of getting a belt shakuhachi quite soon. The new Lost Mountain Travelers. You're doing great work here. Do we know what the general range of the price will be for the belt? The price for the belt shakuhachi the last time I checked is $250 US, but you always have to factor in that you will have to pay import duty, and shipping from the US usually is quite expensive. So these are additional costs that you would have to factor in as well. Kelly Bannister. Johanna, so brave. Thank you for such great live learning. So this is about the video I made with my niece Johanna about how to get your first tone on the shakuhachi. And I couldn't agree more. Johanna is fantastic, and it was really great that she agreed to do this video with me.
What is going on, Johanna?
So if you want to have some fun, go watch it. Cow fat. If only my uncle was as cool as you. I think this is also for the same video, and of course I couldn't agree more. I'm very cool. Tanya Nakada. This is the best video for beginners. Thanks for the praise. I really appreciate it. I'm doing the best I can with these videos to get you into playing shakuhachi or shinobue or taiko, or start with synthesizer music, and a lot of work goes into producing these videos, so thank you very much. And if you want to see more of them, please subscribe, please ring the notification bell, and please leave me a comment if you like this new style of Q&A videos. See you in the next one. Bye.
I enjoyed that more than I thought I would. I don't think I can walk right now.